The Bible was written over thousands of years by around 40 different authors. And the more you read this book, you realize that it is impossible that this book did not have any divine help. There were roughly 2,500 prophecies in the whole Bible, and roughly 2,000 of those have been fulfilled. In the Old Testament, Jesus was prophesied perfectly. And in the New Testament, we can read about those prophecies about the Christ being fulfilled perfectly at his first coming. There are no stories like the stories that the Bible has. All reliability in every book matters. And from Genesis to Revelation, Christ is proclaimed perfectly. The whole Bible is one unified story pointing towards Christ perfectly. So think about this for a second. Have you read the Bible once? Read it again. Something new might get revealed the second time you read it. Have you read it twice? Read it a third time. You will never finish reading the Bible. That is how deep it is. If you read Acts alone, you would soon realize how often the early Christians would quote people like Moses. And they would say that even Moses himself was prophesying about Christ. How crazy isn't that? Moses was talking about Jesus, who lived thousands of years after him. All the early Christians knew that the Old Testament would point towards Christ. Again, perfectly. If the Bible was fake, and Jesus was fake, why would 11 out of 12 of his apostles and so many more amongst the early Christians be willing to die for someone like Christ? These people walked with Christ. They were disciples of Christ, and they suffered with Christ. That to me alone tells me that Jesus is trustworthy, that what we read in the Bible is trustworthy. So we know that the Bible is trustworthy, but how can we know that the Bible is still the same today as it was 2,000 years ago? Well, first of all, we have a lot of text from the early church fathers, and we can kind of get a sense by reading these texts, these letters that they wrote to their churches after the Bible was written. We can get a sense of reading those if the Bible we have today would align with the text that they would be writing to their churches or to their friends or to their people. And it does. But let's talk about manuscripts for a second. When it comes to manuscripts, we have 109 manuscripts of Herodias' history. We have 238 manuscripts of Plato's tetralogies. We have 251 manuscripts of Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars. We have 1,900 manuscripts of Homer's Iliad. Think about those numbers for a second. We have around 24,000 manuscripts of the New Testament. That is about 22,100 more manuscripts than Homer's Iliad. For more than 2,000 years, the books of the Bible have been collected very carefully. They treated scripture sacred and made sure it was copied as well as possible. There are around 5,700 manuscripts of the New Testament in Greek. And it is, in fact, a 99.5% accuracy between all found manuscripts of the New Testament in Greek, which is the highest accuracy of all manuscripts copied in Greek, which we know today because of Bruce Metzger's research. All right, today's leading question for you guys will be, why should we trust the Bible? And with that, live bold, speak truth, show love.